This video will cover the special considerations regarding functions and will provide a few examples of value returning functions. Okay, so here's a slide with a couple of strange things about value returning functions. In this first function, we have integer secret, integer x. This is the heading, and then here is the body, right? The definition of the function. If x is greater than 5, return 2 times x. So if x is greater than 5, then it'll return whatever the double value, 2 times whatever x is. So if it was 10, x is greater than 5, so it return 20 back to the main program or the other whatever function called this particular function. However, if x is 1, x is not greater than 5, what happens? Well, there's nothing happening, so it doesn't return anything, but the program is expecting an integer to be returned. So there's no valid return value. There's nothing going back to the function that called this function. So typically it'd be function main. So you'd get an error. A correct definition of the function secret is this. If x is greater than 5, return 2 times x, and then return x. So this line allows it to send x as it originally was back to the function that called it instead of multiplying by 2. So this would work, this would not. Remember that I told you at the first of this chapter that the return statement can only return one value. Well, this slide provides some explanations on what happens if you try to return more than one value. So let's take a look at it. Return x comma y. Only the value of y will be returned. X will be ignored. So be careful. You cannot return two values. It'll do the last one listed. Everything else will be ignored. Integer function ret1. So this is our heading of our function. And then we have the body here. Integer x equals 45, return 23 comma x. What will be returned? 45, right? The value of x. 23 will be ignored. See this comma? You can't do that. It's only going to do the last one listed. The same with this one. Let's look at ret2, okay? Integer a equals 2, integer b equals 3. Return 2 times a plus b, comma, z plus b. Only the value of z plus b is returned. So this is what would be returned to the function that called that particular function. All right, so now this function is a function that determines a letter grade. So this up here is the function heading, character. So we're going to have one character, A, B, C, D, or F. Course grade is the name of the function, and it has an integer value called score. So we have a switch and case. So what they did, they used a switch case statements to create their functions. All right? So we take switch and we take the score and divide it by 10. So if they make 100 divided by 10, that's going to give you 10. And in case 10 would return an A. And score, if they make it like 83 divided by 10, that'd be 8.3. So it'd go down to case 8, and that would return a B, and so on. Okay? The course grade function definition. So this switch case, this is your function definition. It's inside of this curly brace and this curly brace. All of this is your function definition. This is your function heading. All right? You could also write this with if-else statements. That would still work. This is just another option, another way to program. That's why no two people's programs are exactly the same. You have options of how to do it. This slide lists a few examples that you can use in your textbook to review and get more examples to understand how these value returning functions work. So I suggest you go over them and ensure you fully understand how the value returning function works. And this is the end of the Chapter 6, Part 7. In Part 8, you will learn about the compilation and execution of functions, and you will be introduced to void functions.